Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip committee meeting. Today is September 14th, 2020. We'll call this meeting to order at 7:32. Can you call the roll, please?
Yes. Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Zielinski?
Here.
Trustee Juarez?
Here.
Trustee McLaughlin?
Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Nava Esparza? Here. Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, officers' reports, starting with myself. I actually attended the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting last week on the Wednesday, September 9th, and I wanted to report back that I was just talking with Trustee Juarez that I attended the meeting, so I can speak to it. Two of the items that were on the agenda, one was in relation to what I discussed with, actually, Trustee Murphy brought up to the board with a request to have the attorney, well, first off, it was a request to ask the board to reduce the distance for cannabis cultivation from 2,500 feet to 1,000 feet, obviously to create more opportunity for the village to assist potential businesses to either purchase or lease, I should say, industrial property. Ultimately, the Planning and Zoning Commission has the authority to obviously filter the applications and recommend whether or not those businesses should be where they should be, I should say, in the industrial park, as long as there are 1,000. In this case, I'm asking for 1,000 feet from designated points like schools and parks and places of even the residential community too. It's got to be 1,000 feet from such and so forth. I don't have that checklist in front of me, but as I said at a recent meeting, I've probably turned away over the last 6 months. I've probably turned away 5 different businesses that asked to come into town. Right now, for the record, cannabis dispensaries can be 1,000 feet from those same designations. Cultivation was 2,500 feet, and actually even the Planning and Zoning Commission felt it probably could have been the other way around. But in this case, always consider too that cultivation is nothing more than property tax. But again, with today's economy and certain business buildings being available, I hate to be turning folks away. We have to try and capture business when we can, and rather than looking at an empty building, I'm asking the board to consider reducing that distance. At the time when we voted on this last year, we didn't have enough votes to make it happen, and when we had the recent discussion, the board was concerned with odor and so forth. So in your packets, I included an ordinance that Joe Kankar gave us an example of an ordinance with odor mitigation, so that there are provisions in place should the board decide to reduce the distance and make it the same as dispensaries. We do have an odor mitigation ordinance in place that we can defer to. Anyway, it was approved. Let's put it this way: the recommendation was 6-0, and they agreed that the board should consider reducing that if that's what the board decides to do. My request would be to, let's say at our next meeting, would be to have our village attorney amend the distance for cultivation from 2,500 feet to 1,000 feet, and like I said, to create more opportunity for the village. Again, this is only property tax, where it would benefit schools and parks and libraries, but again, at the same time too, we can obviously facilitate the need for somebody to open a new business there. The state of Illinois is supposed to be releasing about 75 licenses pretty soon, which is pretty skinny throughout the state, but you never know. If we were able to have somebody set up a business here, again, it would benefit those same taxing bodies. Anybody have any questions on it? No? Okay. The other item on the agenda was a request to approve a parking variance for Firewater Barbecue and Brew. I threw in everybody's mailbox just the parking study that was submitted. Matt Weil from Firewater Barbecue was here with his contractor and his architect, and as you know, I put in everybody's mailbox, you know, when you look at that parking survey, you know, our language, our existing language was for every 2 seats in a restaurant equated to 1 parking spot. I really feel that formula might be fine in some areas, but our community, especially our Main Street Pulaski, is really challenged because of, the size of the lots. That's why the village came in and purchased so many lots to bundle those basically horizontally on the street to create more space. So they presented the formula used by the City of Blue Island, which actually is 4 seats for everyone's parking space. And again, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to favor that parking model. So again, I would ask that next week's meeting that the board would approve the request for Firewater for a variance for their parking to adopt a 4 seats for every 1 parking space model, the same as Blue Island does. Right now, with the building, with the site plan that they submitted, right now there's going to be up to 47 parking spots on that property. So they felt it was adequate for what they needed. And again, the thing to always keep in mind too is you really just can't focus on just the number. You can't just take how many seats times how many parking spots. This is still an express casual restaurant. People are coming and going. I mean, Matt Weil would love to think he's got 150 people in the place at one time. Odds of that happening are pretty slim. So, especially with the COVID now, where he's got to kind of cut back on space yet too. Yeah. So they felt the model that was presented was adequate, and they agreed 6-0 to move forward with it, or recommend in favor of.
Instead of a variance for just the 1 property, can we just change the ordinance village-wide?
Yeah, we could, but at this
It
particular...
causes other headaches.
What's that?
So that, I mean, to just blanketly change it.
Well, it's blanketed the other way, so why not just...
We could, but for that particular meeting, trustee, it was only set up to discuss Firewater, not like the whole village. So unfortunately, that wasn't... We had to stick to what's on the agenda, so it was only on Firewater. But yeah, you're correct. We actually did discuss that, maybe looking at that long term to adopt that without having to keep coming back in for that. But yeah, the Planning and Zoning Commission agreed that would be a good idea, but that wasn't the topic for the evening, so we had to stick to topic.
Do we know when that ordinance was originally scripted?
You know what, trustee, ballpark, I'm going to say like 1972, something like that,
Well, and again, changing with the times, a lot has happened, even
Yeah.
in food service with drive-throughs and takeout and carry-out, and I mean, it's a dated ordinance.
Right.
There's a lot of them in there. When I was on ordinances legislation, I was paging through it, and some of them are just ridiculous. And it really needs to be gone through.
I agree. And actually, Firewater's architect actually brought up the fact, too, that our old language spoke to 10-foot by 20-foot parking spots. Today's language, and I did see this parking survey, too, today's language is 9-foot by 18-foot. Cars aren't as big as they used to be.
My car's bigger than 18 feet.
So, yeah. So, anyway,
Through the drive-through.
yeah, today's language suggests 9-foot by 18-foot, and they agreed with that as well then, too. So, we wish them well, and again, I'll put this on the agenda, trustee, for you to speak to next week and stuff then, too. And last thing was just, I was out at Coca-Cola on Friday, and I'm really happy for those folks. I mean, they're going to be putting up a building that we talked about originally, almost 400,000 square foot, and they're going to be going 9 stories tall. They were anticipating almost 200 truckloads of concrete coming out there on Friday and stuff, and too. They had over 50 guys out there pouring concrete, and great. It was a heck of an operation to see and stuff then too. Those guys really work. They work hard, and I'm really happy for Steve Zaranis, the general manager. He called me up, asked me to come out and witness this with him, and I think end of the month they plan to start setting the steel beams and start putting up the structure, because they're going to go 9 stories tall out there. So, again, thank you for their reinvestment in our community. That's all I had for the evening. Next, we had the clerk's report.
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. Presentation of the August 2020 FOIA report, and then the presentation of the August 2020 DOT motor fuel tax allotment in the amount of $66,507.60. And that is all, Mayor Ryan.
Thank you. We reached the public forum part of our meeting. Did anyone in the public wish to address the board this evening? Sir, did you want to say something? Yeah. You have to, no, come on up to the mic.
Come on up.
And you just state your name. We'll have you sign in and stuff like that. Okay.
My name is Michael Joniak.
Could you please step forward? I'm sorry, the mics are not very sensitive unless you're right on top of them.
No,
just
just
real
get your
close to
mouth
the
up to it,
microphone.
Mike. That's all. Yeah.
My name is Michael Joniak, and I'm here from Alsip. And Moraine Valley, I go to Moraine Valley College. I'm online and going for social studies test. And now I was working at the flea market, and on the weekends, like Saturday, Sunday, more like on a Sunday. Okay. Now, I was working there for a good time duration, but after a while, because hurt my ribs a little bit, and I noticed how they come in, they smoke, and then you get pregnant women in there, and then they get frustrated, they don't want to stay there, and then they leave. But it's a business, and now I come in late, but I can only tolerate so much, because I keep telling people, can you please not smoke around me? I'm allergic to it, it bothers me. But some people will listen, but other people don't. They want to do what they want to do, and flea market's a business. People want to make money there. So now I haven't been there for like a long time, and I didn't even tell the owner why I wasn't there for a long time. Now I have to see him like around 9:30, and then be there ready to talk to him, because he's making like $2, and then the rest of the people come in. Now those people want to make some money. Now if people that comes in, they get frustrated and they leave. He's not making money. The people there ain't making money. So now in terms of like smoking, like in a business. They say you can't smoke 100 feet in a business. I asked some people, please not to smoke around me, and I said, like, go somewhere 100 feet away. But they won't listen. Now, people don't smoke in a restaurant, so people enjoy themselves. People don't smoke in libraries and malls. And now, in terms of like cars, it's really hard, because, especially at night. Trying to see somebody smoking in a car, secondhand smoke with the children, isn't good for them. It will help to enforce those laws that people, if they keep doing it, they're not going to pay, and you can use that money. And when I was going to Moraine Valley, they don't smoke there. They don't smoke on the campus. It was a good thing. So for enforcing that, you guys could. I'm gonna go to the owner or the worker at the flea market and let him know. Now he could do something there, because he owns the place, and I'm gonna stay there and help him. He don't have to pay me, and go ahead and do that. Because if I let him do it, it might take him a long time. Now I asked him about getting online. He got online. I didn't think he was gonna do it, but he got online. Okay, so congratulations from that. That helps create business. So now I'm gonna tell you this is what's going on in my neighborhood. I'm riding my bike close to a bridge on Cicero Street. People confronted me and said, do you want to sell some cigarettes in the window? And I says, like, no, I don't. Now, if I would have continued to look at them and give them eye contact, they would enforce it on me. People are selling cigarettes illegally, and there's a lot of things that are going on we don't know about cigarettes that they're doing illegally. So, see here, I'm on the bus. I'm going on 159th Street, and I'm ready to get off soon. Now, somebody on the bus asked me, do I have a cigarette? You don't smoke on a bus. And people shouldn't be asking me for any kind of cigarettes on a bus. It's people got a lot of like subliminal messages. It's hard. I know it's hard to quit smoking. It's not easy. Now, my dad was on a mechanic. He worked a long time. He was a smoker and drink coffee. He said to me, Mike, I wish I could quit drinking coffee and quit smoking cigarettes. I never believed my dad wanted that. Now, I achieved that in life. I quit smoking cigarettes. I quit drinking coffee. Now, for the rest of the world, it takes some time. It would help to enforce that at the flea market. Now, I know you guys, you got your power can enforce people not smoking in a business, discourage them that, and in a car when they're smoking a cigarette, because they should have their hands on the wheel at all times, because they might need an emergency brake, and they need their hand controls. And if kids are crying, well, that's another thing. But, the radio, that's another thing. You turn it off. Cigarettes can be in people's hand, and then cell phone. You got cell phone in the hand and cigarette. There's more problems. So with these cigarettes in a car, secondhand smoke isn't good. So, let's see here. Okay, so I think you got to take time. There's something you guys can work out. So with this, not to cover cigarettes. Okay, the second would be, okay, now this is a little bit time. It's going to take a little time now. I was on Kedzie Avenue, and I'm thinking I want to take a bus down 95th, the 95th go down Cicero, and Cicero get off down to the Menards area. Now I'm riding my bike, and I missed the bus. Now I rode my bike down 95th Street, and I passed Cicero up. I heard a fire, the sirens going, like medical people. Came back. Now I realized I'm not going to wait that long for the bus. The air quality is really bad, and it was really messing with me. Too. I couldn't tolerate it. So I said, I get home. This is too much for me, and it was raining a little bit. So I think that there's you got cameras for speed cameras. Good thing would be a camera that picks up emissions and monitors the emissions to get a good readout, and those people will get fined because if they're driving a long time, they're not maintaining their vehicles with the trucks and the cars. That adds up, and we got really bad air quality here. So it's something to think. I know you might think, well, how's this going to happen? But things will come in place, things will happen, and will materialize. It may not be overnight, but it'll happen. With the cameras, there was a time when I said about the cameras, they say cameras for just monitoring the neighborhoods, and they came up with that. The speed cameras were really good. That helped out for the traffic. So
if you, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Joniak, but no, your points are well taken. There's only certain things that by law that we can actually enforce. I mean, we all wish we could do more with emissions and clean air and so forth. Mm-hmm. The other thing you mentioned about people having kids in the car with secondhand smoke, there actually is laws about that now too. That you're not supposed to have kids in the car while you're smoking and so forth. Then too. And, I'm sorry, I don't have a cheat sheet with me, but I am familiar with that. I announced that to the board. Actually, that started like last year when they kicked that in gear. But if you're working at establishments in town, like you said, whether you're at the flea market or whatever, I understand I have a good working relationship with the owners, the Josephs, and I'd just be happy to reach out to them to remind them. I know they've got a great staff. They're reminding people about social distancing right now and so forth then too, so I can certainly remind them that we were told that folks are smoking on the premises, that they shouldn't be and so forth, so I can certainly pass that along. Unfortunately, we always try to allow folks, 3-5 minutes, to say what they would like, which we just did for you, sir. But I have to kind of keep moving out my meeting tonight, too. But
I guess one other thing.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything like meeting with streets and sanitation, the recyclers, people pick up garbage? Because I know that they're confined with a lot of unsanitary stuff and then recyclable bags.
Oh yeah, we do that. Republic Services, actually, I got it in my own house. There's different garbage cans set up for each and so forth then too, so, yeah.
Because those biodegradable freezer bags are really good. People throw their garbage in that instead of the recycle bags because they biodegrade, but the recyclable bags don't. And they get swamped and then they get traveled, and then it's like a hazard. And it gets shipped somewhere. And then they got stuff in the ocean, they got stuff. I don't even know what the heck this stuff does when it's flying in the air. It's scary. I haven't really seen anybody come up with data. I don't even know if they had that technology to pick up what's going on when the bags flap in the air.
All right. Well, again, I apologize, Michael, but I got to keep my meeting moving along, though, too. But if you would, Michael, sign in right there. And Michael, leave your, if you wish, if you want me to call you back another time, I would do that for you if you like. You leave your number if you want, okay? If not, don't worry about it. That's fine. It's up to you. Did anyone else wish to address the board this evening too? Sir? Yeah, go ahead.
Brian Kovaka, Alsip, Illinois, 4413 West Jean Street. How's everyone doing tonight?
Wonderful, thank you.
All right, quick update. So you guys are talking about the marijuana, the 1,000 feet and everything, so I have a little update from what we talked about last time. Moving along with everything, just a couple more issues that we had, and again, to show you that I'm keeping with Alsip. What we're most likely looking at doing with our business plan now is we're going to incorporate Morrison Security into it as well, another Alsip business to take care of the security for anything that we do in Alsip. One, they're reputable, they've been in business a long time, and they're an Alsip business. I'm trying to keep everything I possibly can in Alsip. Two, I do have a business plan with me tonight, so if anyone wants to talk to me afterwards, I'd be more than happy to sit down and talk numbers. Base numbers, what I have right now. Still, a lot is up in the air because we don't have a site of where we're going to build yet. So the first 2 years of the business plan are kind of a little bit off because I don't know what construction costs are going to be. But over a 5-year plan, with the 10% that we've already talked about with what's called a craft grower cultivation site, which is what I'm trying to do, we're going to be looking at a grand total of $21 million in 5 years, between 22 to 26. $21 million going to the village of Alsip. By the time we get to 25, we should be full steam running. And at that point of time, we're going to be looking at about $7.2 million a year going back to Alsip. So those are kind of the base numbers of where we're at. I've got everything to back that up, everything that we've been talking about again. Keep in mind, we're talking about 3 different levels of marijuana here. We're talking about cultivation, we're talking about dispensary, and craft grower. I'm a craft grower. I'm allowed a lot of little leeways that cultivation sites don't get. So when it comes to the state, all the state says is that I don't have to, I can't be in residential. That's it, because I'm not 250,000 square feet. Maximum I can be is only 11,000. So you guys got to keep that in mind. I know that, that 1,000 feet sounds nice, but from somebody that knows the industry, it's not enough. Even at that 1,000, one site in Alsip that really fits for the craft grower, and that's it. And you got to look long-term thing, because the other thing that Illinois wants to do is when they hand out these craft grower license, they're anticipating that in 5 years you're going to apply for the big one and go 200,000. So now look, if we're talking about at maximum what I can do at craft grower, 11,000 square feet of bloom space, we're talking about $7.2 million a year. That's now, imagine I go 200,000 square feet. But if you put me in an area where I can't grow to that 200,000 square feet, I'm never even going to get the permit. So, let's say you say 1,000 square feet, and great, and I find some, 25,000 square foot warehouse, like you said, repurpose it, cool. Not going to get the permit because they're going to look at it and say, okay, how are you going to grow your business? You can't. So realistically, getting to, what I'm asking for, and this is, I've only briefly talked to you guys a little bit, so now it's getting to the point where we're moving along where I need to tell you what I need. What I need to make this happen. I need the east side of the Alsip boat launch. I need you guys to make that happen. It's a piece of land that is not making any money right now. Plain and simple. 5, 10, 15-year land lease, whatever you want to do. Just the east side. It's already all fenced off. It's perfect for what we need. It gives us the mitigation with the odor. It's secured, so it's a dead-end street. It's right off of 294. It's everything that I need. And it's the final piece of the puzzle because it gives us the option that in 5 years, if everything's going good, and we look at all the good we've done with this money, we've astroturfed our field, our kids are all playing in programs, we've done good things, and now we can take all that extra money, we're giving it back to the taxpayers, we're doing all these great things and say, hey, okay, now do we want to up the ante? If we do the Alsip boat ramp now, we can, because there's room for me to go in either direction. We can make it happen. Anywhere else in Alsip, I'm dead in the water. And I know that if I apply for this, because of how, even the attorney I have, the attorney that I hired, she's one of the first ones that filed a lawsuit about how they're doing the application process. That's why I went to her. She's even told me, look, if we walk in there and just do the bare minimum and offer that, we're done. So if we want to get into this, that's what we got to work on doing. So all I'm asking for right now is, look, and I'll be around to talk, and look, if you want to have a sit down with the lawyers and everything and start moving around, great. But what we really need to do, help me get the boat ramp.
Brian, just a quick reminder, if we didn't, I know you and I met with my building commissioner and so forth a few weeks back when you were here. Please keep in mind, that parking lot on the east lot at the boat launch, like I said, that's all owned by Water Reclamation District.
I know.
Water Reclamation District that I know of never sells property. They
I don't
only
wanna buy
lease
it.
property out. Huh?
I don't want to buy it.
You want to lease it out?
Yeah, I just want to do a land lease with you guys.
Because I
That's
can
it.
tell you, even the boat launch that we have there, we have to actually remit 25% back to them of what we take in. You know, so that's right now.
And that's gross, not net.
Well, here's the thing. In a situation like this, seeing what the village of Alsip was trying to do, this is different. I mean, there's no other way we can bring this much amount of money in here.
I understand.
So, and this is a shot. And looking at where we want to go, like I said, the only other one possibility, I already know it's in for sale. You know, so it's out of the question. You know, so that's why it's this one. At least if this one, you know, if we can even talk to them and say, hey, give us a trial, help us try to do all these great things we're talking about without chasing this guy away and taking all this money when we're doing good things with it already. Let's see if we can even get them. You know, me going to them is nothing. You guys going to them, that's a whole other thing, because we're preaching a dream then.
Right. Well, let me get a little more confirmation with you.
Right.
Just, I want to really lay out what I see as being an issue on that particular property. Obviously, there's others that might be a little more available to you and so forth then, but Brian, we've got your contact info. I know Becky Smith's got that and stuff. So let me, give me like a later part of the week, I'll get back with you, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you for coming out.
Very much.
All right.
Please make sure you sign in as well.
Did anyone else want to address the board tonight?
Oh, thank you very much, sir.
Nobody? Okay. We'll finish up there with our reports. Standing committee reports, Finance and IT, Trustee McGlowan.
Next week, I will have the usual list of payroll and accounts payable for approval, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Fire Committee, Trustee Murphy.
No report, Mayor.
All right. Police and Traffic Safety, Trustee Dalzell.
We'll have the presentation of the Police Department August 2020 monthly activity report. Three updates for the Police Department. Number one, the Police Department has recently purchased a software program called Guardian Tracking. Software will be utilized for documentation of a wide variety of incidents, including but not limited to use of force documentation, coaching of officers, officer discipline, officer compliments and accommodations, both internal and external, employee reviews, and vehicle maintenance. The system is customizable to the needs and has an organizational structure built into it, which allows the employees to pull up any documentation, both positive and negative, that's created on them at any time. Supervisor can pull up the documentation of positive or negative incidents on himself and any subordinate assigned to a shift. They've also been working with Apex Mobile to build a police department mobile app for the public. The project looks promising thus far. Some of the features includes a tip section, frequently asked questions, sex offender link, department directory, event calendar, officer commendation, open cases, and a crime map. These sections could be changed without making the app, or changed out, making the app highly customizable. They've also recently partnered with a suburban major crime accident reconstruction team, acronym SMART. The team is supported by many different municipalities in the south suburbs. Each town has a representative that specializes in accident reconstruction or major accident investigation and is typically called out when there is a motor vehicle accident involving great bodily harm or death. That's it.
Very good, thank you. Next, we have the Public Work and Boat Launch, Trustee Juarez.
I have a presentation of the Public Works Department, August 2020 monthly activity report. That's all, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Sewer and Water, Trustee Nava Esparza.
No report this evening, Mayor.
All right. Building and Health, Trustee Zelinski.
No report this evening, Mayor.
All right. Human Resource and Insurance, Trustee Murphy.
No report, Mayor.
All right. Special Committee Reports, Economic Development, Trustee Nava Esparza.
What I've been doing on a weekly basis until the census deadline arrives is reporting our self-response rate for the census. Alsip self-response rate now is at 74.3%, and residents still have time to complete the census by phone. We have a kiosk now in our village hall that's touchscreen, or you can do so via phone. And also just wanted to highlight that Hispanic Heritage Month starts tomorrow, kicks off for a month, and just also hopefully once we get the economic development intern hired, hopefully that person, he or she, can profile some businesses, and I'd hope that we can highlight businesses on an ongoing basis, not just because it's certain heritage months, but it'd be great to share what's going on or what businesses decide to locate in Alsip and decide to invest in our community. And that's all.
Very good, thank you. You know, I wanted to speak, Trustee, I know we didn't get a chance to meet on this earlier, because we had, I copied you regarding economic development earlier today. I spoke with our attorney, Gary Perlman, and I wanted to just speak to the board briefly about the, everyone, a couple weeks ago, we had the RFPs that we received for the property located at 11706 to 30 South Pulaski, which used to be known as Edka Auto Sales. We only received one RFP for that property, and I put a copy in everybody's mailbox today, so you were looking at a hard copy of that. I want to just speak to the idea that first, their intended use for their property, they want to, once closed, the buyer intends on creating a 3-unit commercial strip mall with 3 drive-through windows. The buyer, and part of what they're requesting here is the buyer requests that the village complete demolition and any necessary cleanup at the property prior to closing so that the buyer can begin work immediately to build the strip mall. We do have equipment out there right now. There's a demolition equipment on site. I believe we're just waiting on some permit work or something like that that's supposed to be coming through. My building commissioner is he's out of the office for a few more days, so I am in contact with him, but I don't believe that they have the final permits yet. I know everything's been remediated as far as asbestos was concerned and whatnot, so I know that's been taken care of. And the board did previously approve the TIF expense of demolishing those buildings over there. Part of this contract, this offer that they made was for the buyer to will undertake construction as soon as possible following the closing, and it anticipates this project taking around 18 months at a cost to build, I should say, at a cost of $800,000 to $1 million. $800,000 to $1 million. The buyer is requesting that the village finance half of the purchase, basically $200,000 at no interest, and that will become due at the earlier of the 18 months or 3 months following the opening of a Taco Burrito King. That's who's made the offer, was Taco Burrito King. The other part of this is that they're asking if the buyer is requesting that the village provide a TIF credit or reimbursement for a parking lot and exterior lighting on that property of totaling $50,000. The sale price on this actually comes out, so in other words, again, I want to just to recap, this is the property at 11706 to 30 South Pulaski. It's basically a 37,000 square foot piece of land. They're offering a price of $400,000, $200,000 due at the time of the initial closing, and $200,000 due at the earlier of either 18 months or 3 months following the opening of the Taco Burrito King at that location. What I would ask at this time is that, okay, it just repeats itself at the end of this. What I would ask is that maybe next week at our board meeting, unless we have anybody have any questions first off? Anything maybe I can answer?
Mayor, do you recall what the purchase price of that was?
400.
I'm going to say we've got, that was a TIF purchase that we did on there. In all, it was about 610. And, yeah, I almost know the number exactly. I remember what we worked on with that, about 610.
Okay.
And what I would ask the board, if we would like to move forward with this offer that's been made, is that next week I'll put on the agenda asking the board for approval to have the village attorney start negotiating with Taco Burrito King to finalize a sales agreement with them then too. This is their offer, but that's not exactly what we're accepting. This is their offer. That's what we're reading back tonight. So it could be what we accept, but let's find out, you know.
Do we know how much monies are left in the Pulaski TIF?
I can check, trustee, but off the top of my head, I'm going to say about $275,000. We've already, this has already been paid for. We already bought this property way back when.
Right.
But I'm going to say roughly $275. I can confirm that.
And we've already authorized the demolition,
Yes, and that was,
mediation,
Mhm.
but they're going to ask for another 50 for parking lot lighting, signage, which are TIF expenses.
right. The demolition was approximately $20,000, and so you would be pushing 50 on top of that. So we'd have roughly 200 left. Off the top of my back of the envelope, but I believe 200 left, yes. So we're getting skinny, but again, we're going to have development over there, yeah.
It just seems like the sale of 400,000, the deferral of one without interest for the period of construction plus, and then we're going to add into it additional expenses, the 200,000 that they'll owe us is rapidly getting diminished by the other asks.
Right. And that's obviously the reason for the negotiations that we're going to have.
Well, residents came in and their bid was way lower than the offer
Yes.
that TBK is making. The other point is that TBK is already an existing business in the community, and they're willing to expand. This is in essence an expansion of their current model, correct?
Yes.
With an additional retail unit, if I read it correctly.
Yeah, they're going to have one store. The overall size of the facility that they had there, it's going to be roughly 40 foot by 120 foot with 25 parking spaces. And again, just through conversation I've had, probably half of that is going to be the restaurant, and the other half are going to be retail parcels next to it.
I would be in support of it. If I remember correctly, Razas was at 250,
Yes,
and then they're offering 400.
right.
And then with a TIF incentive of 50,000, I mean, that's what the TIF is, if we do have a balance there to support that.
Well, that's what I was going to confirm, how much TIF money we have left over. But obviously, all our purchase has already been made,
Okay.
with everything we did out there.
The other side of it is you have an existing business. You're not creating a new business, you're relocating an existing business.
True.
So you're trading locations. Granted, it's going to be bigger and nicer and newer, but you've just taken a empty business and put a brand-new business in, but you've got an existing business that you've just made into an empty business.
I think the bigger, still for me, the bigger picture would be right now getting vacant, well, what would have been almost, we bought out the business that was there when you had the used car lot that was out there and so forth then too. But I think the EAVs might become much stronger, obviously, with having a new development out there and stuff then too, so.
The EAV grows quicker on an empty parcel of land that's never been developed, rather than a parcel that has already been developed, which this was.
I'll give you that, yeah.
Right. So it's not creating from new, it's just creating new.
And again, but again, when you look at the idea that the whole idea of a TIF to begin with is using it to actually take blighted property and redevelop, and certainly this thing is a
I have no
picture for
problem with
that,
what's been
yeah.
done thus far.
Yeah.
It's just that it seems like the asks continue to mount. And when you take a property that we expended over $600,000 for, remediated it, making it shovel-ready, and then selling it for 2/3 of the cost, and there's other asks down the line.
Well, that's why we put out to RFP, and unfortunately, we only had the one. And, when we did put it in the hands of Delabroda Realty, he did a nice job of marketing it. But, again, we had an ask right away. I think when it comes back to, we all have our own take on what's popular. And, again, I think because of the challenge that we've always had with the size of the lots over there, you're not seeing much more in the way of retail on main streets of anything getting developed right now. And I know let's put it this way, with this particular Taco Burrito King, I met with the owner, very nice gentleman, Carlos Lamas, and he's actually got 13 locations, so I'm really looking forward. He feels there's some real business for us. And again, we're going to be getting sales tax out of that too at the same time. So.
And I have no problem with the gentleman. I think that they have a great business.
I'm having a very hard time envisioning how you're going to get 3 drive-throughs on one building.
Oh, windows is what he said.
Windows.
But still, how, it's one building.
I think
McDonald's got 2?
McDonald's
McDonald's
window.
has it. Some McDonald's have 3.
Okay.
Dual lines?
Yeah, multiple lines.
Multiple lines.
I was thinking one drive-through for each one of the 3 businesses, and I just don't know how you could possibly do
I know a
that.
lot of this, everything becoming less contact, I know drive-throughs are getting more and more popular now, too, so obviously he's got a great spot to establish. And he was very clear to say his cuisine isn't like Taco Bell's, that kind of thing, yet, too, so certainly I favor it. I think it'll make a nice addition, and again, we'd like to see some development on Pulaski and stuff then, too. So if the board wishes, like I said, next week, I'll put this on the agenda, asking the attorney to, asking the board to approve having the attorney negotiate this matter. Let's see where we come up.
Are we sure that that $50,000 is a TIF eligible expense? I mean, I know it is for,
Parking lots.
A parking lot.
what is this, parking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Parking lots, lighting, signage.
That's similar to what we did at 11525 Pulaski, is we were half in on what he spent on the parking lot over there.
But that was an existing business at that time.
That was just a hunk of
You're
dirt behind their
improving a
building, though.
business.
Yeah.
Right here, we're actually developing.
Yeah, it's the same difference, yeah.
It's an expense.
There's a lot of stuff, trustee, when you look at TIF eligible expenses, that you can replace, obviously, roofs and facades and HVAC. It's got, even storefront, that kind of thing, too, is quite a bit there. Something that'll, and actually, again, as a reminder, folks, over the last couple of years, we spent probably $2.2 million with shared costs with all the existing businesses. And I remember we talked about last year that the retail sales tax actually came in 6% higher than what we expected, and it brought in almost an extra $600,000 that we weren't really anticipating. So it's been working, with spreading the TIF money out along that corridor. So again, we appreciate their offer that they made to us, and I'll ask, if the board approves this next week, I'll ask Gary Perlman to negotiate that for us then, too. And we'll get back to this. Village Properties, Trustee McLaurin.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Okay. Ordinance and Legislation, Trustee Zelinski.
No report, Mayor.
Next, we had the Planning and Zoning meeting that,
Talked about.
no, we didn't. This is something different, Trustee. Planning and Zoning, Trustee Warren.
I have a discussion of case number 2020-06-S-500 and case number 2020-08-S-500 for an I-2 to an I-1 industrial to a B1 special use for liquor for private consumption for the property located at 4301 West 123rd Street, Alsip, Illinois. There was a planning and zoning hearing on Wednesday, August 26th, with a vote of 7-0 in favor of. This was the recalled meeting from June 24th, 2020. I also have a presentation of a list of licenses dated September 1st, 2020 through September 11th, 2020. And number 3, I have a request to amend the special use permit approved at the 7/6/2020 Village Board meeting to include 50% of trucks being parked at this facility will be associated with businesses being conducted by Tarpos, 3843 West 128th Place, Alsip, Illinois. And I have a notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given. The Planning Commission will hold a public hearing for case number 2020-09-R-100 on Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. at the Village of Alsip Council Chambers, 4500 West 123rd Street, Alsip, Illinois. The Village of Alsip Plan Commission will be hearing application number 2020-09-R-100 for re-subdivision combining one lot to 2 properties located at 12000 South Hamlin Avenue, Alsip, Illinois, 60803. Parties wishing to be heard will be given the opportunity to do so. Thank you.
Trustees, I want to go back real quick, number 3 on that. I spoke with one of the trustees the other day, Trustee McLaurin, and I was just kind of pointing out, when the board originally approved the special use permit for this facility, the company, Tarp House, they went to their financer, and it wasn't explicitly noted in there what percentage of the lot was going to be used for the business versus parking there by other. And I spoke with both our building commissioner, he was at the meeting, at the Plan and Zoning Commission meeting, and he said it was always reiterated, it was explained to him that 50% of that parking would be used for the business and 50 for, other trucking to be parked back there. This again, this property is nowhere near like a residential neighborhood or anything like this. This is actually maybe a single street that's a feeder to get to this property back at 127th and Ridgeway. You have to go down Ridgeway to 128th Place, and this is actually near the stone yard for Wigboldy stone that's back there. And I did speak with our attorney, Mike Kankar, and he did say that typically when we say no trucks other than what's being serviced were included in the special permit, a special use permit, I apologize. It's kind of a boilerplate language, and the discussion hadn't come up at the time, so that's why we're coming back to say that this conversation did take place, because that 50% was for the company and 50% was for other parking, and the building commissioner, who I'm sorry he's out of the office right now for another few more days, did say that conversation took place, which is why we're asking the board to approve the change in language to allow this and stuff then too. And that's all I can say, is we're not, we didn't want to, let's put this, we didn't want to, an error has already been made, and we need to correct the error in order for this to go through. The board actually approved not only a special use permit for this property, but this board also approved a 6B tax incentive for this property, because it was a substantial purchase that this company was making to buy the property, where they have to still come in code compliance with paving and lighting and everything else to bring this property up to speed. And just off the top of my head, looking at that thing, it's got to be 5 acres that they're going to be fixing back there yet too. So there's substantial investment going on with this yet too. Any other questions on it?
I don't remember any of that, though, coming up when they came here and did their presentation, that they were going to be storing other business trucks on their location.
Yeah, I'm just repeating what the building commissioner said to me.
No, but I mean, they came here and did a presentation to the board, and I do not remember that as being a part of it. But I also know we've had issues with illegally stored vehicles on property, or vehicles being stored on property that not necessarily illegal, but that then don't move, cause an eyesore. There's other headaches associated with them. And I mean, personally, I'm just not in favor of basically two businesses going on in the same place at once.
I don't think if there were a truck that didn't move very often, I don't think you'd ever see it in this location. This is actually directly behind American Scrap Metal and so forth. So I mean, there's nothing that you can see from this yard except for that single street that feeds it. Is there anybody here from Tarp House? No? Okay. But that's why I wanted to revisit that, in case there was any confusion or any question on that then too.
The only one who's going to see it is Southwest Airlines.
This is true, right.
Could we maybe get a, maybe for the board meeting next week, maybe get a aerial shot
Sure.
of what that is?
Sure. That's fine. And that really, I agree, trustee, that wouldn't hurt, Okay. Did anyone have any presentations, petitions, or communications?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to mention to the board that I'm going to be drafting some language to put on the website and also the Facebook page regarding the elimination, essentially, of early voting here at Village Hall. There seems to be a lot of chatter out on social media, and people are questioning why it was done. And we have links to resources of where you can find where early voting sites are. We have links to where you can find where you can actually drop off a mail-in ballot as a secure as opposed to putting it into the mail. So I just wanted to let you know that we'll be drafting some language so that we can post it so that the residents can be a little bit more informed going into the election.
Okay. Anybody else? Any unfinished business? Any new business? Then I have to ask that we adjourn to a closed session to finish some business that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. This is...
Would you like me to read it, Mayor
Yeah,
Ryan?
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I have it. Mayor Ryan is requesting that we go to closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2, Chapter 1. So we would need a motion and a second and then a vote, please. To adjourn to closed session, I'm sorry.
I motion to adjourn to executive session for the stated reason.
Second.
Roll call number 1 is to adjourn to closed session again to discuss the employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2, Chapter 1. Roll call number 1 to adjourn to closed session. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navis Barza.
Yes.
Motion carries to adjourn to closed session.
Very good. So we'll end this meeting, then we'll adjourn this meeting at 8:25. And I would ask that we clear the boardroom with the exception of the elected officials. And we'll have our closed session right here. We'll make sure we turn our camera off. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for